And hello and welcome to the regular Cat Red Dead Online podcast. It's live every Wednesday. So far, it was every Wednesday at least. And today we have a special guest. It's Silentc0re, and we're gonna discuss different stuff connected with Red Dead Online, obviously, because you heard the name of the podcast, right? So say hello to the chat, please, because
What's going on, everyone?
it's no
Thanks
one.
for having me, Kat.
Yeah, glad to hear you, because we have a lot of stuff to discuss. Hope we will get in time. So the first question, is straight to the point. What do you think? Next update, when, what?
Put me on the spot here. Next update, I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty small one, like the December update. And I think we're all just expecting, just another small expansion, probably the trader, from all the evidence we've seen so far. And I think it's probably going to happen soon, right? Because we've never had a situation where Rockstar has literally put the next update in the game already. So I think it's probably going to happen in the next couple of weeks.
Next week, maybe?
I don't think next week, unless we get the announcement this week, I don't think there's any chance next week. I think usually they give us a week notice, right, on the updates. So unless they do like a Friday info drop that they've done in the past, I don't think we'll get it next week.
Maybe there will be an announcement this Friday. It's quite possible.
Yeah, I mean that would only leave, I guess, a few days notice before they released it. But I mean, I think they've done an announcement with like 4 days notice before, haven't they? So with Rockstar, who knows? They're always keeping us on our toes.
Yeah. But I actually also think that we're gonna have announcement, not like also, but it's my opinion. But you was pretty much close to the same opinion as I understood. That this Friday we might get an announcement and update. Let's call it update this Tuesday. And yeah, I would actually agree with you that probably it's gonna be like Outlaw Pass 5, even if it's not gonna be this Tuesday, but if it's gonna be anytime soon, it's gonna be Outlaw Pass 5, some improvement for a role, maybe a trader role, and yeah, this new Telegram missions. And nothing more than that. So it's gonna be like mediocre update. So
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to set my expectations as low as possible. It's got to that point. I'm setting my expectations as low as I possibly can, so at least I'm not. I'm trying to limit my disappointment.
It's impossible to set your expectations so low so you will still not get disappointed if we were talking about Red Dead Online, because like every time I have low expectation, I still end up being disappointed, to be honest, because
It's like that meme. It's like I expect nothing, and I'm still let down.
yeah, but I mean, recently you've been making a lot of these videos based on these leaks and rumors. By the way, hello to you from Randy Light. He asked me to say to you this live that he says hello. And
He messaged me too. What's up, Randy?
yeah, so like the question, there are a lot of predictions, I would say, about some content that might be added. And how do you think? I mean, really, is this all gonna be added anytime soon? Or because I look at these titles like, wow, we're gonna get this huge updates, and I don't really believe it. I just don't. So, what's your personal opinion? You think it's gonna be added this year at least? I mean, all this, some big stuff,
I mean,
big stuff.
there's like a lot of stuff in the game files, right, that keeps
Yeah.
getting discovered. I think this stuff, like the properties, are more. They've been in the game files so long, it's hard to tell when we're going to get them and if that's still a priority for them right now, because those are so old. It's like by the time they get released, it could look much different than what we have in the game files. I think probably the most accurate ones are the ones that were actually added in the multiplayer pack of the latest update, which we now know are probably Telegram content, right? So I have a feeling that Rockstar are going to be pushing these Telegram missions pretty hard, and it's probably much easier content for them to develop compared to some of their previous DLCs that required a lot of motion capture work and cutscenes. So it seems like they're really thinning down on the update quality. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it definitely feels like compared to previous years, the amount of developers on this game has been surely cut. I
Yeah,
mean, there's no other explanation.
from 3% to I guess 2 or something like this, because it's not like there was a huge amount of developers in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I remember when you've made this video about the board findings, right? Tug board and this Guarma board and bondings from bank, because I saw the same stuff and I thought that, well, no way. I mean, that's why I decided not to make a video then, because I've already like was kind of burnt with predictions. I was pretty sure that they will add heists. I was really thinking that it's gonna happen because we found some stuff in the game files, but it ended up with like 10 role extension for bounty hunter role. And this time I mean, the situation is pretty much similar, because all these findings, you know, tug board, Guarma board, this money that can show something that heist will be, and it pretty much ended up as a new Telegram missions, right? I assume that there's gonna be new Telegram missions. So it's a question about expectations, because you can expect so much more, even from this what you found, like, or let's say zombies. You remember the story with zombies, how they were found in the files before the Halloween update, and anyone, me except including, was saying that, wow, we're gonna get something cool this time with zombies, and it ended up with just being the zombies using guns and being not zombies at all, and nothing really special. And so here's my question: why do you think they use all these ideas and even something that they already done, like the zombie models, in such a lame way? It's a question.
It's a good question. I feel like for a lot of these updates, they have so much potential to be great, right? But I feel like they don't commit enough to their ideas, or they don't listen enough to their community. And Rockstar is a really weird company, because if you think if any other game company like Ubisoft ignored their community as much as Rockstar does, their games would really suffer. I think the main thing Rockstar has going for them is the fact their engine is so amazing and their games are so well built that they can get away with being so neglectful to their community and not listening to us. So it's kind of weird that we're in 2021 and we're still playing a game that has such little communication with us, right? I mean, I feel like most other companies are like listening to their fans on Twitter, on social media. They hire community managers that have a public presence, that learn from their community and want to, you know, bring updates and communicate with them and bring them even like a roadmap for the year. I feel like we don't get any of that from Rockstar.
No, never. We never get any of those, except maybe some mentioning in a newswire, like expect something bigger, and that's it, without real specific what to expect. Actually, I want to make a pause and say hello to anyone who joined, including Austin BMX, including Rockstar Guides, including all the viewers who's there. So, hello, I will show you the cat as I usually do. And, but yeah, I mean, you're saying they're not communicating with the audience, but you don't really need to communicate with the audience to understand that people want to see zombies if you already have made them, and so it should be real zombies without guns, and you don't need to talk to anyone to understand that zombies should be zombies, especially if you already made them. So what's the problem? I just don't get it. I think maybe you have some ideas, like what's going on. Maybe there's some conspiracy theory.
I would have loved to have seen, you know, like a zombie horde mode even. You know, obviously the zombies shouldn't have guns and be shooting back at us. That was kind of weird. But I feel like, you know, a horde mode or even kind of survival modes, you know, like GTA Online has survival kind of missions where you get waves and waves of enemies. And that would be a really cool concept for them to add into Red Dead. And it's like they've created the game code for survivals already in GTA, right? They just need to kind of copy it over almost.
Yeah, and it would have been super cool if we saw something like that, you know, on a Halloween, because it's a perfect moment. But instead, they kind of ruined the idea, just like with this. I mean, I have not seen these new Telegram missions yet, just like none of us. But I think that from drivable bots and stuff like this, they could do something really cool. And unfortunately, I doubt that these new Telegram missions will be a game changer. I mean, I'm trying to say I enjoyed Telegram missions solo, and I think that this posse Telegram missions also will be enjoyable, but not a game changer, not something that will, you know, bring a lot of new players, or at least return
Totally.
some.
It's to me, it's almost the equivalent of GTA Online's adversary modes. When they release a new adversary mode, like an online mode, it's fun to play a couple of times, but it's not. Yeah, it's not. You're totally right. It's not a game changer, and it's not going to keep us. We're not going to be replaying them for weeks.
Yeah, and especially I mean, I don't know, but I think that rewards are gonna be like pathetic again, just like with the regular Telegram missions. There is no reason to grind them if you're looking for ways to make money in these games.
We robbed a mansion and we got paid $15.
Yeah, man. I mean, each piece of this jewelry that we're taking there should cost much more than what we're getting for this mission, especially on this ruthless difficulty. I mean, the reward is just not reasonable. So maybe they will change it for posse missions. Who knows? But I'm afraid no. By the way, what about roles that we're gonna see? What do you think? Not roles, but role expansions in this new update, if it will happen. Is it gonna be only trader? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I can see them doing a trader. I think I mentioned in one of my videos recently that they did an interview where they talked about expanding it to like a storefront. I can kind of see them doing that. They also hinted in one of their last interviews that property owners have more to look forward to. So I can perhaps see us having to buy like a storefront, running it from there. Maybe that's kind of my prediction for the next DLC. But one thing we haven't seen yet is, I don't know if you remember, but at the start of 2020 in January, Rockstar put out a newswire post and said, gave us two big hints that we'd be getting a photography update and a lawman update. And they hinted that again like 4 months later. So obviously they were working on those for quite some time, and the photography went on to be the naturalist update. We still haven't had the lawman update, and surely they've worked on it for several months. So I
have crazy idea about this. I mean, like crazy ideas. That naturalist is actually a photographer role, but just revoked. They at least read the comments and saw that photographer role is probably the lamest and stupidest idea they can possibly came up with, and they like softened it a little bit and made it a naturalist, another pretty lame role. I'm sorry, Austin B. Minks, he's just gonna send me some hate in chat now for saying this, but it's a lame role. And I'm afraid that lawman role supposed to be these 10 levels for the bounty hunter. So I'm afraid of that. It's possible. Like
that could repurpose is possible. Yeah.
And they changed their mind because they thought, well, maybe it's like too bad for our reputation to call this a role, because it's pretty much like the bounty hunter. It's just my theory, but who knows? Because I mean, what should they make for the lawman role to be completely different from the bounty hunter role? For it to be completely different, I mean, what should it be?
It's still like that kind of like anti-outlaw role, right? So you're still sort of catching the bad guys at the end of the day, really, aren't you? So yeah, you could be. I never really thought of that, so you could be totally right. But the game definitely needs more balancing on the outlaw content, for sure.
Yeah, because it's a game about outlaws supposedly, but we're not like. I don't feel like an outlaw, in this game. I feel like a homeless dude who lives with the homeless creeps, and it's not even your camp technically. You don't even have a camp. It's a creeps camp, It's not yours. You owe nothing in this game. Basically, you have like hundreds of thousands of dollars and gold bars, so which technically makes you the richest person in this frontier. But you don't have you have nothing here, and it's kind of weird.
We haven't had. I mean, yeah, the Moonshine Shack, we have a bedroom in there, but obviously Maggie sleeps in there. We don't even have our own bedroom in the shack.
I believe
then,
it's her
yeah,
shack, completely. And nothing belongs
and then
to her.
It's been so long since we had Outlaw content, right? I mean, this whole year we've spent catching bounties and tranquilizing rabbits. I mean, it's about damn time we had some real Outlaw content.
Well, Telegram missions is like closest to Outlaw content that we got in a long time, actually, because you're doing some illegal job mostly. So, but again, it doesn't feel like you are an outlaw, anyways. So it's kind of weird to me. I mean, yeah. So, but again, what if they will add something small, some small update, right? And again, I mean, we hope that they will do it, because if they will add all you've mentioned, like Outlaw Pass 5 and new Telegram missions and small upgrade for all in June or July, it's gonna be a disaster. Like, for this game, just disaster. So I hope that now it's gonna be some smaller update, and in June, July we will see some bigger update, right? Something that can be called an update. Do you have any prediction? What might we see there?
It's a good question. So I think Rockstar are following the same pattern as GT Online right now, where they're only giving 2 DLCs a year, which isn't a lot. So our first one is obviously looking to be a pretty small one. So it's kind of sad that our first slot is going to be a small one. So yeah, I think there's a lot of weighing, and on what this next second update for this year is going to be, because if it is another small one, it's going to be pretty devastating for the community, honestly. But yeah, we need something big. I think, you know, at this point in GTA Online's lifespan, they already had heists, right?
Yeah.
So I think that and that was a big turning point for GT Online, was heists. I think the game really picked up a lot of momentum after they added heists and then properties and a lot of high-end content. So hopefully, I'm hoping for like a big update that is the turning point for Red Dead Online, and I think it has to be a big update with properties, you know, high-end heists, that kind of content. I think the game needs it. I don't think we can afford 2 more role expansions this year.
Okay, you said properties and heists. I just don't think that Rockstar will be so generous to, you know, give us both. And so it leads me to the questions that I always ask my guests. What if you have to choose like one big change to Red Dead Online, one big piece of content that we're gonna see in the next update, and you have 3 options, but you have to choose only one, and these options are Mexico map expansion, heists, or properties?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I feel like it makes sense for heists come after properties, right? Because if you're robbing banks and making loads of money, I mean, the most expensive thing in the game right now is like a garment set. You're not going to be robbing banks to afford a hat. So I feel like properties have to come first before heists. So I'd hope that properties would come first. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for properties to come first, because, yeah, you got the point here. I was thinking, like, where would we spend all this money? Because it's still gonna be no reason, really, for players to perform this heist, because, like, anyone already have all they want. So, yeah, properties definitely should be first. But technically we have property now. It's a room in the shack, but unfortunately there is nothing interesting there. So what about Mexico expansion? Do you expect to see it ever?
So I mean, I'd love a Mexico expansion, but I just don't know if it would ever be possible. And the reason I say that is because I know with GT Online, they weren't able to add a map expansion to the free roam which means that it would only be accessible in a certain mission. So it's like, is it worth having a map expansion if it's only accessible in a mission and you can't visit it in free roam? I mean,
yeah, but do you think they will never add the Sky of Perica to the free roam?
I just don't know if it's actually physically possible, because when I'm not a game designer, obviously, but I'm just not sure if the reason they didn't do it is because of just how the game would run. Maybe it's because GTA 5 is, built on 2 generations ago technology, but I feel like if they could add it to free roam, they probably would have. And the only way they probably could have done it is if they made it a separate instance, right? So you had to like leave your lobby in the main game and go to a different lobby in the island, but then you'd be splitting the community across 2 different instances. And I know Rockstar said after Red Dead Redemption 1, when they had Undead Nightmare in a separate instance than the main game, they said they regretted that because it split the community. So I think it's probably unlikely for them to want to do that with Red Dead 2, I guess.
Well, maybe we can have some missions there, except the heists, some missions, some PvP, something like this. It's still gonna be pretty cool if we will see Mexico this way. Like, I don't know, let's say you cannot travel there in a free roam, but just like now. Actually, I think about it, but we already have Mexico in the game. It's already in Red Dead Online. It's already almost done, so there should be some decorations, and I don't think it's impossible from the game developing perspective, because
yeah, I guess that's a great point. Because Cayo Perico isn't already physically there in the map, right? Whereas we have the advantage that Mexico is there.
And you know what, maybe, sorry to interrupt you, but maybe they've made it because they've learned from, GTA Online experience. That's why Mexico and Guarma were already in Red Dead Online from the very beginning. So maybe it's a plan to, so this way they can more easily add this content to the game someday. So maybe, yeah, they've learned from GTA mistakes, and they are planning, or maybe were planning, because they obviously were thinking that Red Dead Online will be much more successful, to add it some days. That's why we already have it in the game. So I think it's possible to add it some.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was Rockstar Guides or maybe Videotech that shared some cut content from Mexico, and like there's actually settlements and voice lines from the single player that were cut. So I think Rockstar at one point had plans to make Mexico a thing, and they even created content. Like there's whole settlements and stuff found in the game files, so they could quite easily repurpose that for online, right?
Yeah, because in Mexico it will be, maybe it's not, it's not that cool from the gameplay perspective, like adding properties, because adding properties has a lot of options to offer for players, like a lot, and players will be more busy with having properties and with having Mexico expansion. But in terms of advertisement for the game, it's a great move. It will bring a lot of new players, and many players will come back, but they still don't seem to do it. So
yeah, it would be huge. The community would go crazy for Mexico. Like it would be such a huge thing. But it's like, I'm just not sure if Red Dead Online at this point hasn't the same scale and resources that GT Online developer-wise to create such a big update. Like our scale of updates are so small compared to GT Online's. I'm just not sure they literally have the resources available to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, so far it looks like they don't invest too many resources in Red Dead Online, and probably because not many people are working on this game. But maybe it's gonna change someday. Who knows? By the way, have you heard this rumor? It's comes and goes about Red Dead Redemption 1 remake. Oh.
I have, yeah. I just don't know if any of the sources have been that credible.
No, none
know,
of
it's
sources was credible.
It's just
None.
a random post of 4chan or
Yeah.
something. I don't think we really have much to go on for that one. But I mean, I'd love to see it. But I mean, Red Dead Redemption 1, I mean, I played that recently on backwards compatibility. It still looks great. I mean, I think there's other games I would rather see Rockstar remaster first than Red Dead Redemption 1 that already still looks pretty good.
Like what? Like what? What games?
I'm a huge fan of some of the older GTA games like Vice City or San Andreas. If they remastered some of those, even some of the older like PSP ones like Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories, I think they would sell honestly so well if they remastered some of those. And they need it because they look pretty bad by modern day standards.
We have a bully suggestion
Oh yeah,
from chat. Like,
Manhunt in the chat, be a
Yeah.
controversial one. Lots of Billy fans. Yeah, there's so much Rockstar could remaster, and they'd probably sell more. Like Rockstar is so big now, I feel like they would sell more now than they did originally.
yeah, but my theory is they don't really care about sales as much as they care about developing online services, and adding Red Dead Redemption 1 remake can be a huge possibility to to develop Red Dead Online to the level of game servers that they are actually looking for. At least investors are looking for. I'm not talking about Rockstar actually. I'm talking about more like Take-Two and their investors. Because adding GTA San Andreas, yes, there will be good sales and it's good enough result. But will it affect level of popularity for GTA Online? I'm not quite sure because it's kind of hard to connect. But here we have the same story. It can be and interest from the players because many players finished Red Dead Redemption 2, but they've never played Red Dead Redemption 1, which is, like, as you know, is a story continuation of Red Dead Redemption 2. So many players will buy it. It's so guaranteed. And they also can add something to online here, I don't know, Mexico, for example, and make online available from both Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Redemption 1, and actually Red Dead Online Standalone Edition as well. So here I see a lot of possibilities, and yeah, you correctly said that, like, sources are not credible by any mean, but, I just want to believe that it's just gonna happen, because it makes sense to me that they can do this. I hope they can do this. But
yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy because since GTA 5 Online, I think it really took Rockstar by surprise how much money they were going to make, and it's literally that game has changed Rockstar forever. Like, I genuinely don't think we'll ever see another story mode DLC. Like, anything else other than online content is just not going to be as profitable for them ultimately. So it's almost a little bit sad. Like the old Rockstar games is long gone.
Well, yeah, but the old Rockstar is long gone because people who were making these games that you talking about is like, it's not a company makes not only company makes games, it's people as well who make games. So all these developers and creators are not working for the Rockstar anymore, as far as I can tell. These famous personalities. I mean, most of them, at least.
Yeah,
So
you're totally right. I think they lost like 2 out of 3 of their co-founders now, right? So it's
yeah,
probably a very different structure and hierarchy than it was before.
yep. So it's maybe we're talking about the different Rockstar games nowadays, because who knows whether they are actually capable of making something as great as GTA 5. I guess they can. I guess if they will ever release GTA 6, it will be a great game anyway, or Red Dead Redemption 3. But I still, it's not the same Rockstar, I believe. So who knows what they are capable of right now. But people actually not losing hope in this company, and as you mentioned, yeah, they can afford type of behavior that not any other game company can. like not communicating with audience at all, and just being fine about it. Actually, it might change if they will make some mistake, because this type of behavior will not be affordable anymore. If some of the releases will be not as good as we expect. What do you think about GTA 6, by the way? I mean,
GTA 6, yeah, I'm excited for it. We know it exists. We know it's in some sort of early development. I don't think it's hit full production yet. But yeah, I'm not expecting it anytime soon. I think my prediction would be it's not going to be even announced for multiple years. Main reason being their priority right now is the expanded and enhanced edition, right? So they're never going to announce it or put it in full development while they're still trying to get that one out the door. So I think that the longer they take to do the expanded and enhanced editions, the longer we can expect to wait for GTA 6, right?
Yeah. Could it turn to be like Half-Life 3? Like something that all people expect but doesn't seem to like happen? What do you think? Is it possible?
I think the longer we wait, the higher our expectations for it. But Rockstar have such a high bar for their single-player games, right? I don't think they've really made a single-player game that I can remember that was disappointing. Their games always kind of break records. They always really innovate. You know, even the older ones, even like GTA 3, that was so innovative at the time, although it kind of looks like a potato now. It's like at the time, every time Rockstar released a game, it breaks the internet because their games are so detailed. Their attention to detail is like no other games company does. So I think I have faith that they can do amazing story games, but I think the time between them is going to be so much higher now just because they're constantly developing content for these online services now.
I mean, do you think it takes like that much of an effort comparing to developing new game? Because in my opinion, it's much easier to create new content for existing game service than developing completely new game from scratch. So like adding all the stuff to GTA Online, which is again not like that much they add in each year, is not comparable to the amount of resources that they have to spend on developing next title, let's say.
Totally, yeah. I mean, the development teams in full production will probably be like over 1,000 employees, right, on full production, whereas the teams on the online services might just be like, what would you say, 30, 40 people maybe?
If we're talking about Red Dead Online again, I have super high doubts that we're talking about that many people.
Actually, 2.5, yeah.
Actually, which is weird. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen all these interviews that they occasionally do in Rockstar employees. You know, like they've made it before the Bounty Hunter updates. They've done this interview talking about new opportunities for gunslingers or something like this. But anyways, there are always 3 person there. One of them is I don't remember his name, but his surname is Butchered, and he also works on GTA Online, as I found out. It was super surprised. So maybe they don't even have separate team of developers who works exclusively on Red Dead Online. Maybe it's just some people who work on GTA Online as well do something for Red Dead Online too. I'm not quite sure about it. It's just my assumption.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think that's Scott Butchered. I actually didn't know that he. I didn't know that he did both games, but I have had several friends that have worked at Rockstar Games, and I know they were focused on only one game. So maybe that's his position. He's quite high up at the company, and perhaps he has I can't remember. Is he like a creative director over both games? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, because in some of the sources I saw they've mentioning him as a person who works on GTA. Maybe it was just a mistake in the source, but I don't know. I thought that it's possible that he also works on GTA as well, but who knows? I mean, anyway, they were talking about fisherman role, so Super disappointed. How do you like Fisherman role, by the way?
Uh, Probably, I mean, I didn't really enjoy tranquilizing rabbits, but I probably enjoy fishing even less, to put it that way. I'd be pretty disappointed if that's what our update was this year.
But what if you're gonna get a personal board for this Fisherman role? Will it change your opinion?
That'd be cool, yeah, but I mean, I feel like there isn't a whole lot to do with your boat. I mean, where are you going to drive to? Just around the map? I mean, maybe if they released the penitentiary area, that'd be kind of cool to, take a boat trip over there. Have some sort of missions, some sort of content over there, maybe. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of weird now, isn't it, that everything is always a role focused. I feel like it would be nice for maybe an update to not feature a role and just be more kind of like content in general.
Maybe next one will be if they will have no, role extension, but they can only add, for example, Outlaw Pass 5 and Telegram missions. It can be, I mean, it's possible that this smaller update will be without roles at all. So, I don't think they will do it, but it's possible.
Yeah.
By the way, you mentioned it's called in Russian. It's called Shishika. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it in English.
Sisika, I think.
Sisika. Yeah.
I'm also terrible at pronouncing words.
So why it's not in the game again? Why we are not allowed to go there except using a glitch? Why do you think they closed this area? What's the reason behind this?
It's a great question. I can only think it's the same reason they kind of closed off the bank areas is because they have plans for future content there.
I hope.
Be kind of like I mean, it would be a pretty cool heist location for sure.
Yeah. It is pretty cool location, and it's almost complete. I mean, if Mexico is far from being complete, well. Sisika is almost complete. There is like one glitch in doors there and one glitch in basement, but they've made it all. It just waits for a little fix to be released. But again,
right, yeah,
it was from the beginning of the game. I remember back in beta, there were some glitches, not like the ones that exist now, but some different. I remember there was some way to get there. Definitely not connected with Legendary Bounty, because there were no Legendary Bounties back then, but there was some way, and it was already done. So I have no idea why are they waiting for so long to use it, like, somehow, because it's already there, unlike Mexico. And yeah, Sisika is a PvP map. I see a comment from the chat. Yes, it's a PvP map, but it's ready in the free roam. They can perfectly use it in a free roam with no problems at all. It's already there and it's already completed, but they don't for some reason.
Someone else left a good comment that just made me. So the taxidermy leaks in the catalog. Is that what you're thinking the next role is going to be?
I have doubts again. It might be they might call this extension for trader a taxidermy, just like they did with the Moonshiner, and make it a small role for 20 levels. But I don't think so. I just think they will make standard 10 levels for trader with maybe some small life improvements, but nothing too special like taxidermy. But who knows? What do you think?
They'd have to make I think they'd have to make a new business, right?
Yeah.
Like it surely wouldn't be just 10 new ranks of the same business with crypts. I think it would have to be something new.
Well, yeah, they should add some mechanics. They might add bigger wagons, or so just go this way. But maybe. But again, I don't think like taxidermy is something that some players at least want to see. But on the other hand, like naturalist again, so only one person was asking for it, and we know who to blame, actually. But there was another rumor, since you mentioned it, not only taxidermy, but this grave robbery or something connected with this activity.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think when that rumor first happened, we didn't know Telegram missions were a thing, right? So I think when Rockstar Guides first released those leaks, I think we all had higher expectations than what they possibly were turned out to be. I'm having a feeling now that now we know that voice is related to Telegram missions. It's probably just going to be like a little mission where we rob a grave or something along those lines. Do you not think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually it's possible. But on the other hand, it can be improvement for the collector role in theory, because you're basically doing almost the same stuff but with small changes. And I mean, they have to make some improvement for collector role someday. But actually, they were, I don't know whether you've seen this, again, in the interviews, they were talking about some opportunities for bosses to play in a collector role. It
Yes,
sounds weird.
I do remember that.
Yeah, it sounds weird, but I mean, they can do it, technically. Because it's not robberies or something that people want to see, so it's possible that we will see something like this. But I just don't understand why someone would need posse collections. So I just don't get it.
The Rockstar interviews are pretty weird, aren't they? Because sometimes they'll say things as if it's like, oh, that would be a cool idea, and sometimes it's hard to know if they're just sort of brainstorming on cool ideas. Or the Naturalist, for example, they just said, oh, we'd love to add photography. A few months later, we have the Naturalist role. It's like they were giving us a big hint. So it's kind of hard sometimes when they talk about, oh, we'd love to add a fisherman role. Is that just them talking about what they'd like to add, or is that actually what they're working on?
I honestly hope that they throw these ideas and then looking for reaction, because that's the only way of feedback they are getting. So if someone from Rockstar is listening somehow to this podcast, then no, fisherman is like not a great idea, unless you will add cool boats and place where we can swim with our boats. But it's not even in interviews. Technically, it's how they call it, press releases, because like journalists are not given them questions, obviously. Journalist is reading the questions that they've been provided with, and the Rockstar employees are reading the answer. And both the question and the answer, in my opinion, were made in the same at the same cabinet or something, because they are, these questions is not something that any person who ever played Red Dead Online would ever ask from a Rockstar employee. Like, there is no interesting questions there. Like, never.
You're right. Maybe one bit of I can add to this is I once went to a Ubisoft event, and they gave us the opportunity. I think it was like an Assassin's Creed game, and we got to visit the Ubisoft office I think a few months before the game was released, and we got to sit down and interview the PR person for Assassin's Creed. However, what happened before is they were like, we want to see every question that you're going to ask, and they actually removed all of the interesting questions, and they just wanted to answer the ones where they had already prepared their PR answers for, I guess. So
yeah, so
that's
it's
perhaps
basically
what happened there.
Basically the same, like removing all unpleasant questions is, yeah. That's why these interviews are always so not that interesting. But yeah, they sometimes provide some cool ideas, like what they are working on. But again, Lowman is still not there. Photographer was cancelled, and that's great actually. But they have not done any sort of an interviews recently, right? Nothing.
No, I mean their last one was that big media blast where they did interviews with like 6 different journalists in different languages, right? But it was all kind of the same interview, different languages.
And you know what's funny about this one? It was pre-recorded like 3 months or a few months before it was released. It was an old interview.
Yeah, it was clear that they all had the same embargo, right? Because they
Yeah,
all released them on the same day, except for that one that released it like the day before, who probably broke his embargo.
yeah, and then, but it's just so weird. This type of public relations from companies that actually relies on these relations is so weird to see. So what do you think about the clown movement? Has it like has I even mentioned it? Like, do you remember the like last year in the summer it happened?
Yeah, I remember you made quite a few videos on that one. Yeah, I definitely remember that movement. And
Yeah, it got
it's
into the
interesting because
news. So
yeah, I feel like that is the only way Rockstar listens is when it gets in the news, when there's
yeah,
actually like PR about it. I don't think they really care what YouTubers say or do, but I
no
think
ways they
at the
care.
moment
No
when it
way.
goes to like IGN or any of those big media outlets, that's when they pay attention. It took like IGN or Kotaku covering how bad the game economy was for them to reduce the prices of guns, right?
Yeah.
Like that's all they seem to pay attention to.
Yeah, that actually was the idea. I understand it perfectly. That like no way someone from Rockstar will ever watch YouTube videos or listen to this. It was the idea to get in the news. But my question is, what do you think? They actually changed something? Because I see no difference. Like nothing happened. Like nothing at all. Oh, they still not communicating in any form with the player base. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember, like between Moonshiners and the next DLC, the game was broken for months, and
yeah.
like we were all complaining about it for months, especially on console. I don't know if you're on PlayStation
There
4,
were no
but
animals for a long time, but
I didn't
at
see
all.
so much as a rabbit for like 3 months, and they
I
were like, "Ah, it's fine."
I wanted to make a test, and for this test I needed an alligator. Like alligator is like the most common creature in this game, and I couldn't find an alligator for 15 minutes. Like 15 minutes, I was riding around and looking for an alligator. I need only one alligator, and that's it. And and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna be playing on a console back then. I switched to PC once I faced this. So yeah, and another actually a good case of them don't care. Rockstar Guide says about the KKK stuff. It was another problem. It was on PC, and until Washington Post actually mentioned it and talked about it, they have not fixed it. But once media said something about it, they fixed it in a few days. Not like completely fixed it, and the way they fixed it was kind of weird, but at least they've done something. So it's super weird actually. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not quite sure
part
that
of the
too
reason
many.
why.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, after you.
I mean, I'm not quite sure that many Red Dead Online viewers and let's say consumers are reading Washington Post, and I'm pretty sure that comparing, I mean, amount of views for a Washington Post article, if you compare it to the YouTube views combined of all YouTubers, is just nothing. I've seen some stats for this traditional media, and they're not impressive, let's say, comparing to YouTube at least. But they still care about this only, and about nothing else, which is
Yeah, I mean, my theory on why Rockstar is like that is I actually met one of their PR people at an event E3 a few years ago, and he said he works in New York, and he said all the marketing and PR is done from New York, and there's no development done in New York. He says all the development done is other studios such as North in Scotland, and their office in Lincoln, England is their QA office. Those offices are like development offices, and there's no marketing done there. So he says that the marketing is completely separate from the development teams, and they're done in different studios. So that could be part of the reason why there's this kind of weird communication issue, because most, like Ubisoft, for example, they hire community managers that sit within the game teams and they relay that information straight to their game teams. So I think Rockstar just keeps that so separated that it's just the way their structure is, right? It's just not built for that communication level. So I think when these Washington Post makes an article, New York picks up on it, has to make the call to Rockstar North to fix that. And it's just like a weird.
No, maybe some problems with the structure of the company in general. But in any way, it looks super weird and so untypical for modern gaming companies. With all this...
And they have no incline to, from what I've seen, to fix that.
No,
that's kind of the way they want to operate. And he literally told me when I met him, he was like, at Rockstar Games, I'm not the face of PR. I never put my name on the PR posts. He's like, we let our games do the talking. That's literally what he said to me. So it's like that's just the way they want to be, I guess.
Well, it works so far, so maybe that's why they don't care. I mean, what do you think about, since I've mentioned like that it works so far and it basically works because of GTA Online success? What do you think, whether this success will continue this year? I mean, the amount of money they're grabbing from GTA Online.
Yeah, I don't think their story modes are going to get worse. I think their story mode games are always going to be amazing. And I think that's what they're going to hold on to, and it's what's going to make them sell really well when they launch. GTA 6 is going to smash records, right? We know it because of the story mode. But I think the online modes are definitely don't seem to get quite as much love and attention. One thing that makes me nervous about Red Dead Online is the fact that they nerf the daily challenges. The only reason to nerf the daily challenges is it's not monetizing as well as they'd like. So they're thinking by slowing down the rate we get gold that more people are going to buy microtransactions, which actually kind of hurt the game more because now we have less players playing the game to get gold, when all they could have done is just added more good content for us to save up for.
Actually, this change to the daily challenge system hurt the game in insane rate. Like it's even high. I mean, I can tell by the numbers that I see that can available for public, but the game is in a pretty bad state right now, and the actual drop in the interest of the players in the game is much more significant than it used to be. It always was like a huge spike when some new content is released, like new update or something, but then it goes down, and then it goes up again when new update will be. But this time it goes down like insanely fast. And I believe the main reason for that is this change in the daily challenge system, because people don't feel like making daily challenges is something that worth their time, and it's almost true. It's not 100% true because it's still the best way to grind gold in this game, but people don't think it is, and they don't continue playing just for daily challenges, and it's a lot of players, and basically there's not much to do else.
I've had so many comments from people saying I don't play anymore, but since they did that challenge update, I think their player retention, dropped through the roof.
Yeah.
After that change, and as a YouTuber too, I mean, like our views aren't great.
Indeed.
Since that update either. Like, I know my views have suffered a lot, so I think a lot of people have just lost interest in this game since that update, and we feel it. You can see it.
Actually, there is a graph that I'm pretty sure you can, graphs that indicates how your views on my are dealing, because it's a graph. I will send you a link later. You can just go for Steam database and check Red Dead Online activity players, and you will see your views graph, I'm pretty sure, or something close to that, because December goes huge spike and then it goes down, February smaller, and now it's just a huge drop to the ground right now in the middle of March, because nothing's going on and players are not playing the game like many players used to, just to have this huge daily streak or a lot of gold. And I see no reason actually why Rockstar done it, because in my opinion it's not gonna increase the amount of gold people buying, but rather increase the amount of players who are leaving this game forever, because people will buy gold if you will add something that they want to spend this gold for. For example, mention. Yes, 600 gold bars is insane price, but I mean, players will be fine with it because it will add at least something for them to grind for. And new players will still, some of them will still buy gold because they want it right now. But they decided to make a different move. And I don't think it's a smart move, actually. I just
Yeah, I mean, it hurts. I mean, like, with the last update, we had gold, the rate we get gold reduced by over 50%, while at the same time having, you know, more gold prices. Like, the price of the gold costing items in the Bounty Hunter expansion update were huge. I mean, those pistols were like, what, 42 gold bars for those new variant pistols? Like, that's insane.
I agree. And I see no person, I don't think someone will think, oh, I want these pistols, I will buy some gold with real money. I just don't think it works this way. Well, only players who already have a lot of gold will, some of them will buy these pistols, but I just don't believe that a new player will buy it, ever. Unlike properties, by the way. Properties is something that, yeah, I see many players spending real money for. It's super weird type of behavior from the Rockstar. I mean, I have no idea why this is going on actually, and whether it's gonna lead to some good conclusion, to some good results. Okay, so what do you think what do you think? These new 2 updates, let's say, will be some updates soon and some in summer. Will they bring a lot of players back, or it will be something like mediocre overall?
I honestly believe that if a good update does get released, like heists, the community would all come back for it. And the reason I know that is because GTA Online was pretty slow to start, and as soon as they released heists, everybody came back to the game and more. So it's like there was more people buying the game after, like, 3 years later, just for that DLC. So I do have faith that Rockstar can do good DLCs and bring the game back to life. I'm just not sure if they have the incentive, because I think they reduce daily challenges to get more microtransactions to then invest more resources into the game, right? And I don't feel like there's that many people now buying gold bars at this point, because there's nothing really to buy gold bars for, right? I mean,
actually, you know what? I was thinking the same way, but then I've made a voting on my channel, on the community page, and I was surprised by the result how many players are buying gold. Actually, I was not expected to see that high numbers.
Really, what were the percentages?
I don't remember, like around 40%. There were like 20,000 votes, and from them, but most, here is one I have to mention, most said that they bought only this $5 offer. You know, this $5 offer for
the
25
cheap special offer one.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not a thing on a PC for some reason. It's only available for consoles. But I still was super impressed. I've never thought that so many people are buying gold. And because let's be honest, there is no reason to buy gold in this game, like even after the daily challenge nerf, because there is not much you can buy for this gold still. And
I mean, we're almost a little bit biased because I don't know about you, but I play this game every day, so like we have so much gold and so much time to spend in this game that I feel like we don't really reflect the average player. But I feel like the average player that maybe only has a couple of hours a week to play probably has to buy gold. Like, if they were saving up gold, it would be, you know, so long for them to even just buy an outlaw pass. Like 30 gold bars to us doesn't sound like a lot of money, but to a new player, that's huge. Especially like when you first start Red Dead Online, remember how little gold you got? It was like 0.01 of a gold bar you get for doing like a stranger mission. Like it's a hustle at the start.
Yeah, it was super hard at the beginning. I mean, oh, I finally found the results like 20,000, 27,000 votes, and I asked, have you ever bought gold bars in Red Dead Online? Yes, not once, 20%. Yes, only special offer, 33%. How do you like this? More than 50% bought gold at least once. And actually 5% is just wanted to watch the results. So even more than 50% bought gold at least once. And it's 20,000 27,000 votes. It's not that small of a, amount of data to analyze. So, and I was actually surprised by 20% who said like yes, not less than once. So yeah, I agree with you that we have different perspective as players who play a lot, and even making a content earns you a lot of gold and dollars because you do some stuff to test, to even make the footage for the video, and you still earn more than average player, right? But I still was surprised by how many players actually buying this gold, despite the fact that it's like a common knowledge that no, this game is not profitable, no one buys gold. Well, no, this is not true. It turned out.
It's
weird.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like, I don't know anybody that pays for like Candy Crush either, but Candy Crush makes so much money for people buying those gems. It's like, who's buying all these microtransactions?
From whales, like, maybe from whales, there's like 5 to 10% whales, and you definitely not gonna know them, but they can make all the cash. And I thought that actually the structure for Red Dead Online will be the same, like only 10 to 15% of the players buy gold at all, and from this 15%, I don't know, like 1/3 is buying a lot. But this voting was a shock to me. I'm telling you, I was really surprised. So, and I'm just saying that more people are buying gold than we think about, and definitely from all this money, for buying standalone edition, Rockstar could afford to make something worth of this game. Just, okay, here is a number. Again, number from Steam database, right? They assume that Rockstar sold only on a PC, only in Steam, 500,000 copies for Red Dead Online. $5 per copy, it's 2.5 millions. Minus some, commissions, stuff like this. Let's say $1.5 million they've made. You know how much time they've spent to make Red Dead Online standalone edition? Like 2 hours. It uses the same client. Like, it's not a different client. It's the same. They made maybe 1 million. Doesn't matter. For 1 million, you can make so much new content for this game. You can afford hiring a lot of specialists. There is no dedicated servers. They're not spending too much money for this game to function. So it's not a question about, this game is not profitable. It's already profitable just by the fact of how many standalone copies they've sold on consoles, on PC, and maybe they've made some extra money by selling, story mode inside of this standalone edition, because there was such option. So, and plus, yeah, people are buying gold. Surprisingly, but people do buy gold for the game without the content, basically.
Imagine how much more money and how much more gold bars they'd make if they had more developers. Like, I feel like they're losing money by not having more developers on this game. Like, imagine if we had an update every 3 months. Imagine how much content there would be in the game, and I feel like it would be more profitable for them. I just don't understand why they're not.
I don't
investing more into
as well. Yeah, I have no idea, because there is a lot of potential. Because everyone who bought gold not once is potentially gonna buy gold if there will be something big added to the game. Let's say properties, right? A lot of players will buy some gold if there will be some reasonable price for the property. Many players will buy gold instead of grinding. Actually, I think it's. I hope not. It's hard to say that I hope because it still looks a little bit predatory from Rockstar. But I hope that it's their plan. They want to add something significant later this year maybe, and they are preparing for it by cutting down this source of making gold bars. What do you think about this theory?
We hope so. My theory for the cut of the gold bars was for the standalone edition. I think they wanted to keep that influx of new players, and they wanted them not to get, as they probably see us having like stacks of hundreds of gold bars, all the active players. They're like, yeah, we need to slow this down a bit for these new players. That was my theory behind it. But I mean, it's undeniable that the size of the updates have reduced over the past few years. Like, if you look at like Frontier, we had 3 roles in one update, 3 roles, and we're now getting half a role. It's like what happened? Are they busy doing an expanded and enhanced edition for Red Dead Redemption 2? They just haven't announced yet. Like, literally, what happened to all the developers that we had on the game? I see a lot of people leaving comments like, oh, because it's slower because of COVID.
No.
Everyone's working from home. But if you look at GT Online,
how about
they had 2. They had like an island heist and also the casino heist in 1 year. Like, the scale of those updates are still huge.
Indeed.
Like, you can't use that argument.
I don't understand why people are still using this argument, because obviously before Cayo Perico was released it was an argument, but now it's not. So I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, the message was from earlier.
Oh, I just received it. For some reason, I just received it. Yeah, it was super. I see actually that it was made before the COVID. That Cayo Perico was. No way it was made before the COVID. Oh, it was Casino Heist was before the COVID. Yeah, but. I just don't get why there is so small attention. Okay, so here's another crazy theory. I actually was talking on the last podcast with Zumi Fiasco, and we were discussing this with him. So maybe they treat Red Dead Online not like really a project, standalone project, but as a place to test different ideas for the future. I don't know, GTA Online 2 or GTA Online on the new console generation, if it will be super different from the GTA Online regular. So what do you think about this?
I mean, it's an interesting theory. Yeah, are we just guinea pigs? Are we just a test server for GTA 5? And I mentioned this in one of my last videos, but like the leaks about the GTA 5 remaster that we're getting this year, apparently, that is going to use our engine. It's like, is our engine really going to be more of a priority to re-release GTA 5 than to give our own game a re-release? Because we haven't even announced or confirmed any PS5 or Xbox Series update, right? So it's like, it's a pretty valid theory, I think, at this point.
I actually, when I saw the rumor first, I believe it Test2 was saying about this rage like a month ago, I've made video saying that it's bad news for Red Dead Online players, because I really see this as a bad news if they really gonna use this rage from Red Dead Redemption 2 for GTA 5 new edition, new next console generation. It really looks like we were just in a beta test for GTA Online all this time. And I mean, I don't mind being in a beta test for the future greater Red Dead Online, but being in a beta test for GTA Online, well, it sounds lame to me. I just don't like it.
Yeah, another theory I have related to that is the gold bar system. I think the gold bar system is like a test for a premium currency for the next GTA game.
Indeed, yeah.
I think gold bars monetizes so much better. I mean, every free-to-play app has a premium currency, right? There's a reason why all those free-to-play games have premium currencies. It's because it monetizes so much better. So I think that's another thing that's going to be
A lot of
tested.
stuff. Look, another idea. I know we will put our chat now in a depression by all these theories, but another theory, all these roles, right? They saw how GTA Online, not GTA Online, but GTA RP popular is on Twitch and everywhere, and maybe these roles they're trying to implement this role play system into their own product with these roles, and they're testing whether it works or not. So how do you like this?
Totally. Yeah, I think that's totally right. I mean, they mention it a lot in their interviews, don't they, about how much they love and watch RP content on Twitch, especially. They seem to talk about a lot about. So yeah, I definitely see them kind of trying to encourage that type of role
And earn money.
playing
And
aspect.
earn money. Yeah, on this RP. And if we will find all these smaller theories about small aspects of the game, it doesn't look like it's insane ideas that they're testing, actually testing different stuff in Red Dead Online to get them done in GTA Online. But
Yeah.
still, it makes no sense why not make some good content for Red Dead Online and make some money from this project. To me, it's still a nonsense. Why it's not. But I'm afraid, about this.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what is successful from this game that they'll continue in GTA 6, because I definitely see them using a lot of experiments they've been trying with the no private sessions and the roles monetization. I definitely feel like they're trying a lot of stuff that maybe they weren't brave enough to try in GTA Online.
Yeah, but by the way, what do you think about this next gen version for Red Dead Redemption 2? Will it ever happen? How do you think?
My theory is that it will happen, but because I mean I play on Xbox Series and it's broken. It's been broken since the release. Like I have to clear my cache every day in order for the cycles, the spawn cycles, the daily challenges.
Wanna have a life hack? Because I faced it as well. I believe I know the solution. So you have to close the game. Like go to the game and just turn it off, close it, quit the game before turning off your console. Because at first I was just I get used to on Xbox One, I was just turning off the console and started to play next day by turning it on. But with the new Xbox system, it's like a fast access, or I don't know how this feature is called, and it basically counts as this. Yeah, for some reason your daily challenges are not resetting. So I lost the streak this way.
It still thinks you're on the same day. It's really weird.
Yeah, but this actually works. You can close the application, and it will be fine. No need to clear cache. But it's super weird actually that it's happening. But it's just something I faced on Xbox Series X. It's like.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were on the series too. But yeah, I think the reason they haven't fixed that is because they're probably working on they don't want to give us a free patch or a free upgrade like Ubisoft and other companies have. They want to resell us. And I think the reason we haven't had that patch yet is because they plan to upsell us again.
Yeah, I understand. And actually, I think the same. But what do you think they will offer us for this reselling price? Because 60 FPS on next gen will be cool, but I don't see too many players willing to pay at least any money for only this small change. Not a small change, but only for this. But what do you think they can sell us extra?
Yeah, it's a good question. I can see them probably doing a very similar sized upgrade to the PC version. You remember the PC version had a couple of small changes. It was like they added some new trinkets to story mode, and there's just a couple of new story additions and incentives that way. One thing that we still haven't seen is the Rockstar editor. And I know we've had insiders leak that the code's there, so perhaps that there could be a hook point that they release.
Yeah, it's actually it's good enough. Plus 60 FPS, plus some better quality of graphics and stability. Despite the fact that actually game works super stable on my Xbox. For example, I have no problems at all with the game. Like no frames are dropping, no freezes, nothing like that. But yeah, they can sell some small life improvements plus 60 FPS plus this new mode, editor mode, and maybe. What do you think the price will be in this case? By the way.
I mean, we just had that comment last week from the Take-Two CEO, Strauss Zelnick, that he's planning on $70 for all next-gen games, so it's quite probable that we'll be paying that.
It sounds insane to me, like this price for... I mean, maybe for Red Dead Redemption 1 remake is... Yeah, but if they're gonna sell next-gen console for 70... Next-gen console version, it's a little bit too much, I'm afraid.
Yeah, especially, when we've already bought it, and GTA fans have bought that game. I mean, I bought GTA 5 like 5 times.
Yeah.
So they're expecting people to fork out again for it. I mean, it's a lot of money to pay for a re-release, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty... But he said that different projects will be treated differently. I hope that he is talking about some big projects, because after all he's a CEO of Take-Two, and there are a lot of smaller games they are publishing, not as big as this one. But well, yeah, $70. I don't know how many people will buy this next console version for $70. I'm afraid not too many. But
the thing is they'll have to buy it eventually, because what Rockstar did when they went from GTA 5 next gen is they actually stopped updating the last gen versions.
No.
So you had to buy it to get the new content.
Okay,
they started releasing them only on the next gen.
I have to interrupt you here. Do you think it's possible that they can make the same this time with Red Dead Online? Because, I mean, this project is still like half dead, and if they will make something like some move like that, it might kill Red Dead Online completely. It just sounds too inappropriate to me, and it's definitely not gonna work, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think right now the next gen consoles are still kind of rare and hard to get, aren't they? They're still like sold out in a lot of places. So I think that I don't see them doing it soon, but I think, once it's been released and once more people have upgraded, I think that, yeah, they'll probably stop releasing the DLCs on last gen.
Well, I'm afraid if it's happened, I mean, it's not gonna be a bright future for Red Dead Online, but who knows, maybe, I mean, they can offer something extra for, this next gen console version, like, let's say, some big part of a content. That we were talking about, heist, properties, Mexico, something like this. Do you think it's possible, actually?
I mean, I don't know if they tie online content in with the re-release, because, and unless they released it and then they were like, okay, heists are only available on next gen because of the upgrade in technology.
Yeah,
but I'm sure there'll be a lot of players pretty unhappy about that. But I think for GTA 5 it was more just sort of story mode upgrades, and the Rockstar editor and the online was all they really added.
Yeah, maybe it's just too hard, too harsh for the players to make a move like that. This like hiding heist properties of Mexico behind this next version of the game, and it's even Rockstar will not do something like this. I hope that it's not gonna happen. So okay, so since we have not much time in this podcast, like one final question to you: how do you see Red Dead Online's future in a year from now? In a year from now?
Yeah. I mean, I suspect that we need a big DLC at the end of this year. I don't think we'll get it in summer. I think they will most likely push it right to the end of the year, but I'd hope that it would be something considerable. But I guess it also depends on how much they're going to be releasing, or when they announce the expanded and enhanced edition for Red Dead Redemption 2, that might also be like a big priority for them. But I mean, I'm still bullish on this game. I still play it every day. I still genuinely love this game, even though I get frustrated with it a lot. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a toxic relationship, you know, where you feel like you hate something, but you keep going back to it. I'm kind of like that at the moment. But no, I'm definitely still optimistic about the future, and I hope that, you know, within the next year, it could really start to like pick up again.
Yeah, I hope you're right, because it will be cool. If you're right and we actually see something substantial this year. Because otherwise I'm afraid there is no future for Red Dead Online if this year there will be no game changer update. But yeah, anyway, we're glad that you joined and we discussed some stuff, mostly of course Rockstar and Red Dead Online, mostly bragging about.
Sorry if it was mostly complaining.
Yeah, it's a usual podcast. What do you want from Red Dead Online podcast? I mean, it's impossible.
You know, I almost feel a little bit better. I was almost a little bit therapeutic having this rant with you. So I
I
appreciate this.
You started about this harmful relationship. Started the conversation between it. Anyway, thank you for joining. Thanks for all the viewers who came, and we're a little bit short on time today, so there will be no this. We always have these questions from chat at the end, but not this time. Anyway, thanks guys for joining. Thanks to you, Silentc0re, for joining. It was a cool podcast, and as a reminder, if you like to, it will be available on YouTube, but if you like to listen only, it will be available on Spotify as well. It's not a paid advertisement because I get no money from this, but some people find it more useful, more, you know, better to use. I just lost my idea. Anyway guys, thank you for joining, and see you next Wednesday.